Should you do fasting? Should you do fasting? And are there benefits for it? Good morning. How are we doing? Over the next 3 to 5 minutes, I'm just going to go through fasting. Are there benefits to it? It's, we see it a lot in the media. Fast diet, anti-aging is thrown out there. And there's lots of hypotheses around this, and the research is really interesting. People generate hypotheses, which is really good. Hey, Nan, which is really good because you start to prove yourself wrong. That's the aim of science, rather than trying to prove yourself right. Anyway, so let's take fasting. There's so many different forms. This is the problem. You have to have a definition of it. Does fasting mean that you fast 8 hours, like 16 hours fasting, eat out 8 hours eating during the day? Does it mean that you just skip breakfast? That's a form of fasting. Does it mean that you're just not grazing and you eat 3 meals a day? You could argue that's fasting. So generally we've got to look at what we actually mean by it before we can interpret it. So put simply, fasting is often seen as a 16-8 minimum, especially when you translate it to like real life. However, in research, they always take it a step further just to prove the point and really kind of make sure that there's no room for error in it, so they can actually see the effect of fasting. So they might use like a 24-hour fast sometimes, alternate day fasting to see the difference, 18 hours. And so what are the benefits of this? So the benefits of it, that people do lose weight doing it because there's kind of fewer decisions to make, which means less willpower, right? Some people can actually notice a reduction in hunger by fasting because they may switch into ketosis. They get benefits in that angle. So they're the benefits, but what are these benefits over, like, above and beyond just steady, small changes that fit someone's lifestyle? More? No, there's not really any benefit above and beyond just kind of restricting as someone might in their life, or making better choices, adding protein into their nutrition. And if someone's got kind of a binge eating tendency, this is where you could run into problems at times, or some people could, because it almost promotes that a little bit more, right? So you've got to think about that aspect of it. You've then got to think about where exercise comes into that. If you're fasting, the research is quite interesting in that you may burn less calories during your fast because, one, you might actually just subconsciously move less. Two, when you exercise, the metabolic rate and your actual calories burned doing the exercise may be lower, whether that's due to effort put in, energy. So that could be something to consider when you fast. So if you're a person that exercises in the evening, you might want to fast in the morning if you do it, so that you have a bit more, so you feel a bit more up for it in the evening when you go and do your exercise. And vice versa. If you exercise in the morning, you might want to be a breakfast person. And what they found in this breakfast study is that people who had breakfast and exercise actually burnt more calories. However, you've just got to consider what works for someone, because I know people who, once they start eating in the day, they're like, blimey, I'm just hungry every few hours now. So you've really got to consider the individual differences in here. And what's really cool about this research is it doesn't really conclude that one way is better than the other. They're all tools in the toolbox, whether you fast, alternate day fast, 16-8, whether you have a set rule. Like, people, it's quite powerful for people to say, I don't eat, I fast after 7 p.m. Why does that work for someone? Because they used to eat and graze after that and then eat all in the evening. Now they fast until mid-morning, and yeah, it's not a quote-unquote proper fast, if you like, but actually what they're getting at now is totally different, because now they've got control. Now they've got one simple rule that's allowed them to make a choice, reflect on that choice, without it being plan all your meals in the day, like go crazy. And fasting is a real simple way of doing this, because it's more difficult to overeat. And I talked about it before in terms of I did do a 1 day full fast And what was quite interesting is all I was thinking about was food in the morning. All I was thinking about was food. I did water as I wouldn't recommend fasting with water. I was doing it for different reasons, but then also I was just thirsty really. Then by the time I got to the evening, hey Pauline, I was actually just thirsty. And then I thought, I'll just eat what I want now. Now it's the evening. Morning. It was just the morning, evening. And then I'm like, well, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. It was about 800, 900 calories and I was stuffed. And then it's like, wow, you get some veggies in and protein at that meal. And it could be a way to control them. However, would I do that every day? No, it doesn't fit my lifestyle, doesn't give me the flexibility really. Do I fast some days? Yes. Is that kind of purposeful? Not really. I do tend to have more of a protein fast in the day sometimes. So what I mean by that is I might eat more protein-rich foods, breakfast and lunch with kind of lower carb. It just keeps my hunger at bay, whether that's protein shake based, whether that's fish, mackerel, one of my favourites. Everyone's like, oh, my mackerel. Yeah. And that just keeps me really full, feeling good. I don't get any bloating. Yeah, this energy level's really high. Then when I go and more maybe train later on, get my exercise in, I'll eat a bit more around that time. And this kind of really is mimicking almost a fasting state and a fed state where we tend to train better in a fed state. However, going back to that, when I train in the morning, I don't actually eat breakfast before I train. I've never really done that. If I do train in the morning, one, it's too early. Two, once I eat, kind of feel a bit like, and then you got to digest it, then the time's running out, you don't get it in. So you've got to think practically as well here. So I hope that helps. And to understand this more, if you haven't watched my talk yet from last week, I can't believe it's been over a week already. Crazy. Just comment with talk below and I'll send that over, because I do talk about how carbs, fats, protein work in the body, so that might be helpful. Anyway, make it a great day and I'll see you soon. Take care.